choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things.
5, 4, we have ignition.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
All engines are running. We have...
Because that goal...
Liftoff. We have liftoff at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
The tower has...
Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept. One we are unwilling to postpone. And one we intend to win, and the others too.
Glass window is shaking and we're holding it with our hands. Look at that rocket go into the clouds at 3,000 feet. The roar is terrific. Look at it going. You can see it.
In 1232 AD, the Chinese used rockets against the Mongols, who were besieging the city of Kaifeng-Fu. An arrow with a tube of gunpowder produced an arrow of flying fire. Early Chinese rockets were used in both war and celebrations. The Congreve rocket used black powder, an iron case, and a 16-foot guide stick. The British used Congreve rockets in 1806 to attack Napoleon's headquarters in France. In 1807, Congreve directed a rocket attack against Copenhagen. Approximately 2,500 rockets were fired. Engineers pursued many amazing developments in aviation during the first half of the 20th century. People like Robert H. Goddard dedicated themselves to new achievements in the area of rocketry. In 1926, Goddard launched the first liquid-fueled rocket and laid the foundation for a technology that would eventually take man to the moon and beyond. Fueled by liquid oxygen and gasoline, Robert Goddard's rocket flew for only 2.5 seconds, climbed 41 feet, and landed 184 feet away in a cabbage patch. Years later, at their Peenemünde research facility in Germany, the S, under the technical direction of von Braun, developed the V-2 rocket. The V-2 became one of the best known of all early missiles. The 46-foot rocket utilized alcohol and liquid oxygen as fuel and could carry a 1,650-pound warhead 225 miles. Some historians have estimated that by the end of World War II, the Germans had fired nearly 3,000 V-2 weapons against England and other targets. Early on, the Huntsville team developed the Redstone rocket, also known as Old Reliable, because of its many diverse missions. The Redstone was a high-accuracy, liquid-propelled surface-to-surface missile. The von Braun team loped and launched the first Redstone missile in August 1953. In January 1958, a modified Redstone rocket put the first American satellite into orbit just 3 months after the von Braun team received the go-ahead. This modified Redstone rocket was known as a Jupiter C. Its satellite payload was called Explorer 1. The Marshall Center's first major program was development of the Saturn rockets. The Saturn V, first launched on November 9, 1967, was the most powerful member of the Saturn family, producing as much power as 85 Hoover dams. The Saturn V provided the capability for Earth escape and Earth orbital missions for Apollo and later for Skylab. Before the end of the 1960s, the Marshall Center was extending its capabilities in another direction as well. The Lunar Roving Vehicle was designed to transport astronauts and materials on the Moon. A lunar roving vehicle was used on each of the last 3 Apollo missions in 1971 and 1972 to permit the crew to travel several miles from the lunar landing site. The Apollo program demonstrated that men could travel into space, perform useful tasks there, and return safely to Earth. But space had to be more accessible. This led to the development of the space shuttle. A new era in spaceflight began on April 12, 1981. That's when the first space shuttle mission was launched. The Marshall Space Flight Center developed the propulsion system for the shuttle.
For computers are primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 17 seconds and counting. 15, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond. Seconds into the flight, engines beginning to rev up. Standing by for the throttle up call from Capcom Steve Crow. Every unit, go and throttle up.
Roger, go and throttle up. Throttle up.
Throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Steve Lindsay. Solid rocket booster separation confirmed. Guidance now converging. Discovery's onboard computers commanding the main engine nozzles to swivel, aiming the shuttle for its precise target in space for main engine cutoff.
Okay, you sound good.
Discovery Houston, negative return.
Copy, negative return.
Falcon 9 is a two-stage rocket designed and manufactured by SpaceX for the reliable and safe transport of satellites and the Dragon spacecraft into orbit. As the first rocket completely developed in the 21st century, Falcon 9 was designed from the ground up for maximum reliability. Falcon 9's simple two-stage configuration minimizes the number of separation events, and with 9 first-stage engines, it can safely complete its mission even in the event of an engine shutdown.